You really don't need that much to get started with your art business, and in this video, I'm going to be sharing all the supplies I use to run mine. Let's get into the video. The first thing you will need is a good printer. The printer I use is the backbone of my business. I recommend an EcoTank photo printer or inkjet printer because you save so much money on ink. I will have a whole video about the printer I use and all the reasons why I love it, but I use the Epson E2800. If you're just starting out, any model from that brand would work for you. I also think the Canon brand, they have a Mega Tank series. I believe those would work for stationery needs. I will have a few of the models linked in the description. The key points to look out for with your printer is you want it to have a rear feed paper tray. This is so if you have thicker sheets of paper, they may not fit as well inside the printer and they may get jammed. But if you have a rear feed paper tray, you can get a lot more types of paper. And I can print up to 250 GSM with my printer. It is a little bit of a workaround. It's not meant for that, but it does work if I use the tray in the back. It goes right through the printer instead of going inside and up and out. It's less work for the printer. Bonus points if your printer prints double-sided is amazing when it comes to bookmarks. It's not really necessary for anything else I create in my shop, but that is the only thing I really miss with my specific printer type. So I'll have some in the description that print double-sided, and then I will also have some that print borderless up to 8x10. Because my printer also does not do that, it prints borderless up to 4x6. But it's something to keep in mind when choosing a printer for your business. I use my printer for everything from stickers, bookmarks, greeting cards, art prints, labels, packaging. It's an all-in-one printer, and I truly mean that. I use it every day, and it's a powerhouse. Choose a printer that is best for your budget but does what you need it to do. Do not sacrifice on this step. There's a lot of things you can get cheaper. You can get the cheapest one, but you will regret not getting a decent printer or not getting the capabilities that you need. Number 2, you need paper. Paper is where you can really customize things depending on what you are making, but I still like to keep it pretty simple and I use only a few brands. My go-to brands for packaging, I use cardstock from Nina and Hammermill. I have tried a lot of different brands and those are the ones that I like. You can get them in various paper weights, various levels of brightness. I prefer the whitest paper I can get, so an ISO of 90 or higher. I like paper weight for cardstock that is between like 170 to 230 GSM. So it depends on your printer and what it can allow, but I try to go as thick as I can because it just makes it feel more luxurious and looks nicer to me when papers are thicker. For bookmarks and cards, I use the brand Koala. They have matte and glossy photo papers that are stunning when it comes to prints. My printer quit printing on the glossy photo paper on the large size, but it was beautiful while it lasted. I do need a new printer. I've run it through its course, so it's not the printer's fault in mine for honestly using it way more than I probably should have because it's a basic office printer. So I will have a couple art printers linked below that are meant to handle a lot of full bleed prints because I print full page, full color, and I think my printer doesn't love that. But yeah, I use Koala matte paper. I prefer to use matte paper for my bookmarks because I will end up laminating them, so it doesn't really matter if it's glossy or not. For greeting cards, I ended up switching to matte because it was much more consistent when going through my printer and gave me a lot less errors, a lot less jams. So I just decided to do that. And it looks good. The prints are still very vibrant. I will have the specific paper that I use across the screen. To print out my labels, I have different papers for packaging labels and for shipping labels. I hand make a lot of my labels and cut them to size. So I design them in Canva. I print them out and cut them out whenever I need one. I use Koala matte paper for this, but glossy would work as well, as long as you let it dry. Logos, barcodes. I use online labels. They have weatherproof matte vinyl sticker paper and many different options for their labels. Address labels, I have circle labels that you get a template, you download a template, I uploaded mine to Canva so I can design what I want to go in them and print out a full sheet. I also use their sticker paper occasionally for my stickers. They have weatherproof matte sticker paper, and it's really tough. Like, you can't really bend it, you can't really tear it. Once you add a glossy laminate over it, those stickers are good. I love the quality of them. That paper is more expensive, but it's worth it, so I will have online labels linked below. I'm currently printing my shipping labels using my inkjet printer, so any office printer would work for this. And you can 8.5 by 11 or half sheet papers, and you can print as small as 4x6. You can buy label printers, label paper that's meant for an inkjet printer, and just print 4x6 one at a time. I used to have a thermal label printer, and I am looking for a new one. With a thermal label printer, you can print in a continuous roll all at once, and it doesn't take any ink. So you just buy the printer up front and you pay for the labels. They come on a roll that you can have either folded. You can just print whatever you want on them as long as it's black and white. Once you buy the printer, the labels are so cheap. You can get hundreds or thousands at a time, and they lasted me forever. I also use them in my packaging with my own designs on them. I use them to seal up my envelopes during transit to add a personal touch. To design your products, there are a few different ways to do this, and none of them are wrong. It's just based on your preference. You can draw your designs by hand, which I use for my paintings, my art prints. A lot of them I do in my sketchbook. And then you can scan your art using a printer scanner or using a photo scanner they have some from the brand Epson and Canon that are really great quality. Make sure you scan them at a minimum of 350 dpi for good details in your designs. Especially if you plan on blowing your design up in the future, it'll be better to scan them in at 600 dpi because then you can expand them and scale them up and you won't lose too many details that way. That's the method I use when I'm trying to get a small 8x10 art print and turn it into a digital product. So yes, when I'm scanning things in, I personally use my printer. It comes with a scanner built in that I can do 8x10 maximum. If I ever have larger designs, I'll invest in a larger scanner for that. I just send everything to my computer. It's very easy once you learn the hang of it. You can also design digitally on a tablet or computer. I use my iPad. I have an iPad Pro, but any model works. You don't even need an iPad, but for the app I use, it's only for Apple products. I use the app Procreate. It's under $10 and it's a one-time purchase, which is amazing nowadays. I use this app for all of my sticker designs, bookmark designs, and the majority of my greeting cards. I've also used Canva and Adobe Illustrator because I have a graphic design background. Both work great, but if you have that background and technical expertise, you'll probably prefer Adobe. If you're a complete beginner, Canva is much cheaper and way more intuitive, so I would say that's the way to go for you. I use both in my business. I use Canva on a daily basis to format a lot of my projects, especially my coloring books and my labels, my packaging designs. I use it to format documents. It does everything. You can pay one price. With Adobe, you have to pay for each subscription. You can get bundles, but you pay per program. Both are subscription models, but they're worth it, especially if you want quality designs. For stickers, I like to keep my process straightforward. I have videos on making stickers if you want to see the behind the scenes process. I have a lot of vlogs from when I first started my business, so those will be linked. For holographic stickers, I use self-adhesive laminate from Amazon. It's pretty cheap. For clear laminate, I prefer thermal laminating pouches, and for that you need a laminator machine as well. They all do the same thing, so I'll have the one I use linked. It really doesn't matter as long as you get one that has a hot lamination setting, and that's wide enough. Cut the stickers out. You can cut them by hand, but that will start to hurt. I know from experience, your hand will start cramping. I suggest investing in a cutting machine. I use a Cricut Explorer Air. I've had it for years, so I'm honestly curious about the other options. There's Silhouette and Caesar Juliet. I've never tried those, but I've heard great things about them, and they're all in around the range of $200 to $300. It's definitely an investment, but I got my money back quickly once I upgraded because I could make 3 times the amount of stickers as when I was making them by hand. For packaging, I make my 3x3 inch backing cards in-house. I use cardstock, Canva, and my printer and ship them in 3x5 inch bags so they don't get damaged when they're wet. And the bags are you can get them for as little as 5 cents each. You will also need envelopes. You can get those on Amazon for under 15 cents each. When it comes to stickers, every cent matters so much for your profit margin. So I try to find envelopes that are under 10 cents, but sometimes you have to get those like 100, 200 at a time. And if you're just starting out, that may be too much. So you can get them in packs of 50, and I think that's reasonable. If you are interested in how I ship my stickers for under $1 using Etsy, I will have that video linked. For bookmarks, they are super simple and use a lot of the same supplies. I have my printer, which again, any printer would work for this, heavy duty cardstock, lamination pouches, a lamination machine. You'll need a guillotine cutter or something to cut the bookmarks out that would give you a consistent cut every time. And you don't have to worry too much about the angles because you want them to be sharp and straight. So I use my guillotine cutter from the brand X-Acto. I've had it for like 4 years now. It's not that expensive as far as I can remember. For greeting cards, the paper varies depending on the card. I'll just list my favorites. I love very bright matte paper from Koala. It's like 60 pounds, so it's pretty thick, but it still manages to go through my printer. So I did a lot of effort to find this, so I will have that paper linked. Double-sided matte paper, so if you wanted to print the inside of your card as well, it would still come out very vibrant. I also love the brand Red River. They have greeting cards that are 7 by 10 inches and they fold down to 5 by 7, and they're already pre-scored. They have pre-scored options, so you can just fold them easily. They also have 8 by 10, 8 by 11, and you can cut those down to size for whatever greeting card size you want. I love their 60-pound polar matte. It prints vibrantly, it has a smooth finish, and it works really well with my inkjet printer. If you have a more professional art printer, they have cotton, linen, and canvas textured paper that's really thick. If you have art that has a lot of fine details, a lot of brush strokes, or watercolor, I think those would look beautiful with those paper types. What's great about Red River is you can get a sample pack and try out all the different paper types that you want and just pay maybe $10 for 2 sheets each, and you can try out different designs on them and see which ones you like. So that's how I came to the conclusion of the paper I liked, and you might find a different paper that works best with your printer. I would suggest doing that as a great tip. Definitely try that out. For cutting, I use the same guillotine cutter I use for my bookmarks. To finish your greeting cards, I use a scoring board and a scorer. I actually have it right here, and this is from the brand Easy Tools. It comes with one of these here called a bone folder, and you just score your pages down the middle to give them a nice crisp fold. I've seen machines out there that will cut and score your cards automatically. I've never tried those because they seem really intense and they cost a lot more, but if you are planning on expanding and making this a huge business for yourself, I would look into those. They're professionally made, they're huge, so you can do a lot more than what you can do with this. You can only do one at a time here. For packaging my greeting cards, each card goes into an acid-free sleeve with an envelope, and both are usually 10 cents each. For art prints, the quality of the paper is what matters the most, and that quality can depend on the printer you use and what your printer can handle. So since my printer is an inkjet dye-based printer, I'm going to be using Epson paper because I have an Epson printer, and I give my prints the best chance to be as vibrant and polished as possible. So I use 8 by 10 matte photo paper. I also have Red River's paper that I mentioned before. They're 60-pound polar matte because that paper is archival and acid-free, so it's meant for fine art prints. What I like to do, because I don't have a lot of space to store papers, I usually buy one larger size and then I need. If I'm printing a 4 by 6 inch page, I can do 2 per 8 by 10 sheet. 8 by 10 and 8.5 by 11 inch papers. I can print 2 5 by 7 papers on one letter size sheet. If you have the space and you sell a lot of these sizes, you can get 4 by 6 and 5 by 7 inch papers in a lot of different options. Other paper brands that I will mention are Moab, Fine Art Prints. I have a list here on the side of prints paper you can try that are archival, acid-free papers. They won't fade as easily, they'll last a long time, and your buyers will be happy for a long time. So for 4 by 6 and 5 by 7 inch papers, if I'm doing glossy, I love Koala. The only downside to them is I don't know if they're acid-free. If you want something that lasts a long time and you want it to be considered a fine art print, you should lean more onto professional professional artist papers like Red River or Moab Canon or Epson's fine art line. Koala is very much a homemade crafter type art print, which is perfect for farmers markets or selling small prints on Etsy if you want. The Koala brand is perfect for like farmers markets or selling small little designs on Etsy. But if you want to do like museum quality, or you want prints that'll last a long time without losing their vibrancy, you should get paper that matches, which will end up being more expensive, but it's worth it because you can charge fine art prices. So for packaging, I use acid-free for everything in my shop because they prevent yellowing, especially if your stuff is going to be stored for a while, if you're not sure if it's going to sell right away, or if the buyer keeps it in the packaging. Maybe they won't use it right away and they'll just put it in storage. You want to make sure the thing it's stored in is going to protect it from the elements as much as possible. So acid-free sleeves help to prevent yellowing, and it helps the print last longer over time. I also add chipboard behind my prints. I get like 9mm or 10 points, 12 point. It doesn't really matter as long as it's pretty thick so it doesn't bend as easily during transit. And to trim them, I use my handheld cutter because it gives me a lot more precision since I'm only cutting one page at a time. And for magnetic bookmarks, everything that I use for bookmarks is the same with the addition of magnets. You can do your own trial and error for what you like. I use the most inexpensive ones I can find that still have good adhesion. I make sure they have the 3M adhesive on the back, because that's how I know that they're going to stick to your bookmark for a long time. And you want to make sure you get some that attract each other so you can put two sides together and they won't repel each other. That's super important. But I've already done the work for you and I have some inexpensive versions in my Amazon storefront. Oh, and another thing that I use on a daily basis is my shipping scale. It has lasted me for this last 3 years. I make sure that I measure every single package before I send it out to make sure that it is within the right weight category for shipping my orders. I'm very particular about this because I want to make sure I'm not going to end up getting charged again if my shipping is off, because it'll be my fault and I'll be annoyed at myself. So I just make sure I check this. And it's been one of the most important things that I bought for myself, to be able to ship and send my things at home. And I'm able to package my order. I'm able to get my packages picked up from my house because I don't have to go in and have them weigh it for me. I can just print my shipping labels, package it up, and know that they're going to be good. They're going to go through all the clearances and not get sent back to me for that reason. And the buyer's not going to get charged for more shipping either. So it's definitely very important if you plan on shipping your items. That's everything that I use. I will have everything that I've mentioned today linked in my description, and you can check my Amazon storefront for even more things that I use in my business. You can watch these videos here if you want to learn how I make these products that I mentioned in my videos. So I'll see you in my next